okay, Nats Park. We recently, because the city owns, we're on the hook for maintaining Nats Park, and we recently spent about $20 million on a new scoreboard. The fields where all the kids play, that cost $30 million. So that gives you a sense of, you get a scoreboard or you get playing fields that 100,000 kids every year can play on.
Yeah.
It's really pretty stark when you look at it. Now that I'm in stadium politics and I see like the economics and how much it costs to maintain everything, it's really clear to me, you know, when an organization is asking for some funding and they might say, I need $2 million, or, you know, I have a much better understanding of like what costs what, you know, and so 500 million, you can do a lot with 500 million, but not if you're spending it on a football stadium.
Hi, my name is Jailon Henry, and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'll be interviewing Ebony Payne. Ebony Payne is running for Ward 7 in the District of Columbia City Council. She is one of the champions of a project called RFK Futures. This project is dedicated to turning the current RFK Stadium, where the Commanders used to play, into a new public works program or project which allows for the development of different fields. On this project, this campus currently stands about 30 acres of turf fields, playgrounds, and other grounds for children and the community in general to play on. I talked to her a lot about that, as well as the history of the area. Please tune in. I hope you enjoy it, and above all, I hope you learn something. Thank you. Okay. And your current position is?
My name is Ebony Payne.
Yes, what's your current position?
I am the Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner for Kingman Park. And my single member district is 7D05.
I think I'm gonna let you say it. You said it better than I'm gonna say it. Okay. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, ANC.
Okay.
ANC Commissioner.
All right. Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Jailon Henry, and today I'm here with Ebony Payne, the current ANC of District 7 or Kingman Park area. Kingman Park, yes.
In Ward 7.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And could you please just give me your whole title again, because you said it better than I could.
Okay, so I am the Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner, which ANC stands for Kingman Park, which is in Ward 7. We're a historic district in Ward 7. And it's a single member district, 7D05. So what that means is there's an ANC 7D, which is comprised of 10 single member districts, and I have one. And my number is 7D05. So it goes from 7D01 all the way up to 7D10.
Okay. And you're also running for Ward 7 in the DC City Council, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So yes, this is considered an endorsement. I've only met one of the candidates so far, but she seems to be a great candidate.
Thank you.
So today we're here on in Kingman Island, right next to the Anacostia River, also on the campus of RFK Stadium, which is where the Commanders used to play. And we're here to talk about basically some of Ebony's reasons for running for city council, as well as her vision for the future of this campus, RFK Stadium, and some of her motives and motivators to get into politics in the first place. So the first question I have for you is, why are you running for city council?
I am running for Ward 7 DC Council because primarily public safety. DC is in the midst of a crime crisis, and I grew up in the community that I represent now of Kingman Park, and I don't recall the level of like chaotic energy and crime that we're experiencing now. In fact, you can hear sirens now. So I was actually on the phone with 911 just prior to this interview. So I really want to see the city make a turn in helping our young people turn their lives around, be on the right track, and lead really great lives. And then I represent the RFK campus, and we're going up very large forces with the potential for the commanders to come back. So I'm really looking forward to giving the community a real voice as the mayor pursues the team. And I want to see the campus remain something for the community.
Okay.
So I took you on the tour and you got to see the fields, which are 27 acres of converted parking lots. And we really want to see those stay. They're temporary right now, and we have about 100,000 kids that play on the fields, and lots of adults. So for all of those reasons, I want to see, the community really have a voice. And then also Ward 7, we're in a food desert here. We have about 2 grocery stores for the whole ward, and a lot of times they don't feel safe, and it's just hard to find healthy food here. So I'd like to utilize my network of Black farmers. Actually, I make teas for a living, so
Okay.
I specialize in locally sourced medicinal herbs, and I know a lot of farmers. I've been on like a journey of supporting local farmers for about 4 years now, and I'm very excited about that. I was actually just endorsed by the president of the Mid-Atlantic Black Farmers Caucus.
Okay.
And Upper Marlboro, Maryland has a lot of really awesome Black farmers. So Upper Marlboro only takes like 30 minutes to get, from DC to Upper Marlboro. So I'm really looking forward to all of that. So that's why I'm running.
Yeah. Let me ask you a little bit about basically just your relationship with nature. You mentioned that you are a professional farmer. You grow teas.
I don't farm.
Oh,
I am
excuse
not
me.
a farmer. I
Okay.
cannot take credit for any farming. I just
Okay.
love to support local
Understood.
farmers.
Understood.
Yes, I'm a city girl at heart.
Okay, I got you.
So I don't do any farming. I
Excuse
do
me,
like to
okay.
garden.
Understood.
Yes. I'm on UDC's Master Gardener Leadership Committee. So I definitely want to see gardening and gardening education be in all Ward 7 schools. I had one of my classmates when I was in elementary school, his mom was a gardener, and she started a school garden in our elementary school. And those are some of my earliest memories, and it was so much fun, and I want to do that for the kids here.
Okay. Well, in that way, you talked to me a lot about how this area used to be, at one point was a landfill, and has been built up in different ways. They're trying to restore the nature of this area. Can you tell me a little bit about how bringing a stadium or not bringing a new stadium could impact the nature of this area that is right along the banks of the Anacostia River?
So we used to have the team here, and when they were here, it was, I won't say it was all bad, but the community definitely had to bear most of the brunt of the impact. So NFL tailgating is a really large part of the culture. It's a very car-heavy culture. And so it requires a lot of parking lot space, surface parking. FedEx Field has 129 acres of surface parking lots, and the RFK campus is 190 acres.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you a sense of how much, would be required if they were to keep it like the same size. And the fields where the kids play soccer, that is 27 acres of converted parking lot space. So, and even when there is surface parking, there's still a lot of illegal parking in our community. And so it puts a real big strain on everyone. And then just like a lot of drunken fans. If you go along Oklahoma Avenue where there's a lot of residents, they don't have like fences, they just have open like lawns, and so they constantly have like drunken fans encroaching on their space, and it's definitely, it has a big impact on us. So
you talk a lot about basically this impact that the stadium will have on the Cayman Park community. Can you tell me a little bit about some things that make community important, things that make a strong community, and what makes an effective community, in your opinion?
Yeah, so, well, an effective community is a united community. And so what that has looked like, we did a survey of the community to get their sentiment on whether they wanted the team to come back, and what, if they didn't, what they wanted to see. And we found 70% of the community is strongly opposed to the team coming back and building a new stadium. And about 30%, so it's, that's a sizable chunk, are open to the idea. And as a commissioner, I feel a tremendous responsibility to make sure that I'm listening to everyone and considering everyone's thoughts. And so I actually have a lot of support, even amongst people who really want to see the team come back. And I think part of that is because I have made it an open tent where I want everyone's thoughts and opinions, and because I don't want any, the last thing I want is a divided community as we are advocating for ourselves. It helps that there's such a large portion of people that all feel the same way. But the people who do remember the team and have a lot of feelings of nostalgia. So usually, when I ask people why they might be for it, there were some happy elements, they could hear cheering, and it was, city pride, and that has a certain value as well. But it's also, it costs millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to build these stadiums. And so every dollar that you're spending on a stadium is money that's not going to teachers and students and schools and social programs, SNAP benefits, all of those services that people are really relying on. So there's a lot of considerations as we're thinking about what we want to invest in.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about RFK Futures? You made that a really big staple issue in your campaign, and can you just give us an idea of what it is?
So RFK Futures, it's a task force of volunteers from the communities that surround the stadium. That includes Kingman Park, also Rosedale River Terrace, which is behind us, and Capitol Hill, Hill East, and we were responsible for surveying the community. We had an RFK Futures survey. We got over 2,000 responses, and to put that into perspective, the average congressional poll is 1,500 responses. So.
Wow.
Yeah, and we did that in August, when everybody goes away. DC kind of shuts down in August, so that gives you a sense of how much interest the topic and the campus has. And that's where we found out that 70% of people are opposed. And we also wanted to focus on what we wanted to see in the future. So this is all National Park Service land, and the community really wanted to see more open green space, more housing, grocery stores, retail, a mixed use development that was really for the community. We definitely want to see the fields, and we want to see those expanded upon.
Okay. And wow, I want to ask about a couple things there. First, I want to ask a little bit about the effect that eminent domain has on, or has had on, this neighborhood specifically. You mentioned that this is federal land, and that
you told me
campus. Exactly. Yeah. You said the RFK campus is federal land, which has been leased by the city, and so I think specifically I want to know, what do you feel, or why do you feel strongly that the residents of this area should have a say on what happens here? And next I'll ask you about, basically, or you can even blend into this question, what has been the impact of eminent domain when people haven't had a chance to have a say on what happens here in the past?
Yeah, those are all great questions. So I'll tackle why I think it's essential for the community to have a say in what happens. I mentioned that Congress has legislation before it right now that would extend the city's lease by 99 years. In the original legislation that was proposed, they were going to take the campus, the 190 acres, from the National Park Service and switch it over to the General Services Administration. And on principle, I was very opposed to that because it sets a terrible precedent that you would take National Park Service land and give it over to the GSA for private development for billionaires, especially in light of the fact that 70% of the community around the National Park Service land does not want that. So fortunately, someone in Congress listened and they marked up the bill, and that provision was removed. So it will stay National Park Service land. And that means that it belongs to the whole country. It might be a national park of parking lots, and it is. But it has a very long history of being basically abused. Like, this was a former dumping ground. It's heavily polluted. There's a lot of lead. And you know, that's as a result of years of environmental racism. And so the community has really done an amazing job of transforming all of that and fixing all of that. And we've been advocating for it thus far, and now people really enjoy the islands now. We saw lots of bicyclists and dog walkers and runners and wildlife, and you know, kids playing on soccer fields. And I grew up here, and none of that existed before. So you know, we've been working very hard to make it what it is today, and it should be decided by us and not by politicians that are worried about like their legacies. You know, it really needs to be something for generations down the line. And what was the other question?
The other one was talking about eminent domain.
Oh, okay. So
and I think that's a great segue, especially you talking about this shouldn't be something that is decided by politicians trying to cement their legacies in the future. You know, eminent domain is definitely something that's been used for that often. So
yes, and we do have people who are concerned about eminent domain. I was born in DC.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. Crime crisis. Yeah, you don't want to litter with mine.
That would be rough.
So we were talking about eminent domain. Okay, so I was born in a neighborhood called River Park in Southwest, and that area now has our baseball team at the park. And I recently had a friend who she lived east of the river, or she lives east of the river now, but at the time we actually both grew up in that community. And when the baseball stadium was being built, she was pushed out. And they used eminent domain heavily to redevelop that. You know, it's completely different now. And that stadium, people oftentimes, like the mayor herself, will use the baseball stadium district as an example of what she wants to see for the RFK area. You know, I have baseball and football are apples and oranges, specifically because of the tailgating culture of the football. So I have doubts that all of that is possible on the RFK campus. Also, where Nats Park is, it's not National Park Service land,
right?
And so the city owned it, and it was different. But lots of people were pushed out, and you know, people are concerned in Kingman Park about eminent domain. So I would be shocked if they used eminent domain, especially for Kingman Park. We're historic now, so you know, I wonder if there's like law bylaws, how they would handle that, but it's definitely a concern of the community.
Okay. I'm getting to the end of my questions. I think the next one that I want to ask you is really just it's a counter argument, and it's asking a little bit about this same thing you're talking about when it comes to the mayor looking at places like the National Stadium now, and how it's brought development to the area and to the city. Do you not feel that bringing the Commanders back into the city of DC will have a major positive, economic impact on the city? And if so, then do you feel that natural preservation as well as public desire overweighs financial gain?
Yeah, so I don't see a financial gain.
Okay.
And I just see it as a major loss. Because, and to give you a point of reference, so the city has offered Ted Leonsis $500 million to keep the Caps and the Wizards in DC, in light of his plans to move the teams to Virginia. And that's $500 million that you're not spending on schools or whatever other programs that you might need. And so the NFL's business model is that the taxpayer pays, and they don't have to put up any of their own money.
Yeah.
It's just all on average, quite frankly, poor people. Ward 7 is the second poorest ward in DC, and we really don't have the funds to fund billionaires when they have plenty of money.
Yeah.
So I don't, in light of like the financial costs, also there's plenty of research to show that NFL stadiums in particular don't have a positive economic impact on cities. It just drains the city of resources. So no, I don't, and like, okay, Nats Park, we recently, because the city we're on the hook for maintaining Nats Park, and we recently spent about $20 million on a new scoreboard. The fields where all the kids play, that costs $30 million. So that gives you a sense of, you get a scoreboard, or you get playing fields that 100,000 kids every year can play on.
Yeah.
It's really pretty stark when you look at it. Now that I'm in stadium politics and I see like the economics and how much it costs to maintain everything, it's really clear to me, when an organization is asking for some funding and they might say, I need $2 million, or, I have a much better understanding of like what costs what.
Yeah.
And so $500 million, you can do a lot with $500 million, but not if you're spending it on a football stadium.
Yeah. And I think my last question is really just, do you feel that the struggle that residents of Kingman Park are facing here in terms of wanting to develop more land for public use rather than just for, in your words, billionaires, do you feel like this ties into a larger economic, environmental, or social struggle that others experience in the United States?
Yes. In fact, I would say it's really a problem all over the country. And in Virginia, if you talk to the folks in Alexandria, they don't want Ted Leonsis to move the Caps and the Wizards to their area. And we want to keep them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it would be nice for Congress to have a deeper conversation about, if they really want to help the American people, they can stop the public financing of sports franchises. I don't understand why average people are expected to pay for what a billionaire has plenty of money to do.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've come to the end of my questions. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Is there any message that you would like to leave with?
Yes, you can visit ebonypayne for ward7.com and make a donation. I can accept between $5 and $50, And if you're in DC, your donation is matched 5 times. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you.